Hello, welcome back. My name is Judith. I am one half of the Nutty Nitty Sisters. Together with my sister Julie, we create videos sharing our love of all things fibery and fiber arts. And occasionally we get into some shenanigans and cruise around the state of Maine to yarn events. We call them Yarny Adventures. If this is your first time joining, welcome. Thank you for checking our channel out. We hope you will subscribe and stick around for a while. And if you are a returning viewer, thanks for coming back. We definitely appreciate it. If you do enjoy the video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps our channel get out there and let other people enjoy what we have. And we appreciate it. So today I thought I would share with you a process that I have done for about the last, I think 3 or 4 years. This might be the 4th year. And it is hosted by Anne Frost with I Thought I Knew How podcast. And in the past has been called Yarn Stash De-Stash. This year it was Yarn Stash Restash. But the concept is the same. It's a gentle process to organize and go through all of your crafting supplies, whether it's knitting, spinning, crocheting, painting, whatever. So day number 1 is to gather all the things. Just bring them all into one space, whether it's a table, a bed, a floor. Bring them all together so that everything is together. And then you have 2 containers. You have trash and you have donate. And that's it. That is the first day. How easy is that? It was super easy for me because most of my crafty things are in the origami room, which is the room I'm in now. I call it the origami room because it is my grandchildren's bedroom when they come to stay with us. It is also my office that I work in during the week. It is also my studio. It's where I record all of our videos. And it's my my craft studio. I have all of my yarn and spinning and sewing and all the things in this room as well. So most of it was here. I had to pull a few things from the bedroom and the living room and the car and get them all here. So that was day 1. I'll show you a picture of the biggest area, my area of focus that I really wanted to get a handle on was the area by my desk where it's kind of my half of the room, where most of my stuff was located. And then the shelf that all of my project bags are located on. I really wanted to kind of get a handle on that and get it a little more organized. And the biggest thing that I wanted to accomplish was organizing my fiber stash so that I could make a plan for spinning through some of that when Tour de Fleece came. So that was day 1. Day 2 was project bags. I call it kind of project bags part 1. And the aim of this day was to look over your project bags if they need repaired or washed, repair and wash them, return them. At the end of the day, you have a pile with your actual projects in them, and then a box of notions. If you have anything that's in the project bags that are notion-y related, toss those in a section or a box or a container, what have you. So you have the pile of your bags with just yarn and pattern, and then all of your notions are in another box. That's day 2. That was fairly easy for me. Was able to get that all taken care of, and I had a beautiful box full of notions that now could go back into their proper places. But not yet. We're just going to leave that because it's going to come later. Day 3 was, I like to call it project bags part 2. And this is where you're going to make some tough decisions on what is in those bags. For the UFOs, are you going to frog it or finish it? Let's make a decision and decide what's going to happen with those bags. At the end of this day, you have your whips and a box of to deal with, like the notion-y stuff that you have to deal with stuff. So I did make some tough decisions on this one. There was a cottony sweater that I was going to make for Lincoln and Dylan. I had frogged Lincoln's, but I had not frogged Dylan's yet. So I went ahead and frogged that, put the yarn back in stash, got my whips all together in one place, lined up all nice and neat. And then I have my box of things to deal with. Because of the amount and limited space of stash, I actually had two boxes of to deal with. I had the Notion-y kind of stuff, and then I had yarn that I knew would go back into stash when we got to that. So I kind of put that in another box. I also had a bag of gift knits, things that I don't particularly want to wear or not fit for me, or I'm going to make a decision to finally donate them. So that was day 3. Day 4, now we get into the notions. So you want to have a list, and then you want to have a plan for what you're going to do with your notions, like notions bags, or if you want to put them into containers or bags or boxes or Ziploc baggies, however you want to house your notions. Now, last year when we did this, I had all of my notions in mason jars mounted on the underside of this shelf. And although it was nice to have all of the notions in their own separate little containers, it was not very practical because every time I needed to make a project, I had to unscrew each one of those and take out what I needed. So I have gone back to having individual notion bags and just having each one of those bags have everything they need in it. I've got maybe 3 or 4 stitch markers, scissors, a yarn needle, a nail file, a little hand lotion, a Lolo Bar hand lotion. It's got everything in it a tape measure, a row counter, just everything that I need. Anything that didn't fit in, I didn't have notion bags for, like extra supplies, I put in this little wooden drawer organizer. I got this like 3 years ago with the intention of using it for notions and then just never did. So I cleaned it out. I put little washi tape labels on it. Very temporary labels, but at least it shows me what's in there for now until I can find something more aesthetically pleasing. But it works for now. And now I've got notions bags, and I actually put those notion bags in the WIP projects that I am going to be making, the next in line of what I'm going to be making. That was a very productive day going through the notions. And then I made a list of the things that I need to kind of fill in the gaps. There wasn't a lot. I would like to get a couple of new lotion bars and some of those, I don't know what they're called, stitch fixers. They have like a crochet hook on one end and a knitting needle on the other, and you use it for drop stitches. I'd like to get a couple more of those. I think I only have 3, so I'd like to get, I think I need 2 more so that all of my notion bags have one in it. And that's it, which is really cool because I don't need any more stuff. So day 5 was organize your circular needles. So on this day, I actually did all of my needles. I don't have a lot of knitting needles. I like primarily ChiaoGoo, so that's pretty much what I have. So I actually organized all of my needles in this on this day. So you can see the before picture here. A hot mess. They were just kind of thrown in there all willy-nilly. But one bright spot was I found my sewing basket that was actually my Aunt Becky's sewing basket when she was a teenager, which was 70 some odd years ago. So I was able to pull that out and also get that repaired. There was a few spots that needed some repair. And I was able to clean it out and get it more organized. So that was lovely to find that. And then this was the end product. I actually took it out of the fabric cube and just put it right into the cube shelf so that it looks a little more aesthetically pleasing. And it's just a little easier to get to. So that was that. Day 6 and day 7. Day 6 was for DPNs. And day 7 was straight needles. So I chose to take on other crafts during these 2 days, specifically in the closet. So there's a lot of stuff in the closet that was kind of random and all over the place. A lot of my spinning fiber was in there. So I decided to kind of get that a little bit organized. The shelf that was up over my my desk. I chose to do a little organization there. I took most of the sewing stuff. I went through it. I donated a bunch of stuff. I got rid of a bunch of stuff. Got everything down to a more manageable container. And all of my sewing stuff now lives in the closet. I don't sew as often as I used to. So all of it is in the closet on one shelf. Very neat and tidy. I absolutely love it. I knew I was going to take care of spinning fiber at the same time that I took care of my yarn. So I didn't really organize the spinning fiber, but I got the containers that I wanted to organize the spinning fiber in organized in the closet. So I knew the space that I had to hold the fiber and where I was going to store it once it was organized. The second craft that I decided to tackle was diamond painting. It's another craft that I don't do very often and I would like to get back into. So the problem with the diamond painting is all of the things were in one big fabric box with a lid in the closet, out of sight, out of mind, and I never really did it. So I decided to bring those things out here and organize them a little bit better. So I have a lot of extra drills from paintings that I've done in the past. And the system that I had used before was not ideal. You can see this is not easy to find anything in this basket full of these baggies of little plastic drills. So I decided to take a 3-ring binder and baseball cards and baseball card pages and put them in there. And it is so much easier. I have one big 3-ring binder on a shelf and that's it. It's so much more condensed. I have these little containers that I put the drills in on active projects and in these trays that I have on the shelf. So when I get the urge to do a diamond paint, it's right there and easy to access and easy to do. So that was a welcome organization as well. So that was day 6 and 7. The next day, day 8, was loose patterns. So this is printed patterns, pamphlets, things you might have gotten in Yarny Adventures. And so I went through my printed and pamphlet patterns. I had 3 binders, 3 different binders full of patterns, literally full. I could not 3-hole punch and put another pattern in any of the binders. I went through the binders and this is the pile of papers I had left over after I threw out what I already had on Ravelry, what I already had in a book, or what I already had online. And I got it down to one very small binder with room to spare for extra patterns. So very successful day on day 8. Day 9 was books. Now, again, this is my 4th year in doing this exercise with Anne, and I know that all of the books that I have are books that I love, and so it was really just a matter of getting them in a way that was organized. They were tucked in a cubby, and I really didn't use them much. I did make sure they're all on Ravelry, so you can add a book to Ravelry, add it to your library, and the patterns will be there. For the most part, I noticed there was a few books that don't include all of their patterns on Ravelry, which was really disappointing. But for the most part, most books have all of the patterns on there. So yeah, it's really nice now. They're up on the shelf. I have a section for crochet and a section for knit. And then my spinning books are in the closet on the shelf with the sewing, in with the fiber, the spinning fiber. So very productive book day as well. So day 10 was online patterns. And I really used this day as an opportunity to look through what I had for patterns that I really would do, would make, and have as an active whip. I went through my queue. I ended up eliminating a pattern from the queue that I really wanted to do, but the yarn that I had chosen for it was more of a light fingering weight versus a fingering weight. If I want a garment from that yarn, I'm going to find a garment that is for that weight of yarn rather than try to, bully the yarn into a pattern that it probably doesn't want to be. And I was very close on the yardage as well, and I don't want to play yarn chicken with this yarn. It's a beautiful, beautiful yarn. So I decided to scrap that idea. I put the yarn back into stash, and we'll find a better pattern for it down the road. So I also organized all of my bags on the shelf in the order that they are in my queue. And I am now set up for 2023 to be able to just grab a bag and knit. And it's going to be lovely. So that was the online patterns. Now, during the course of all of this organization, there were other little things that I decided to organize as well. As I went through the protein fiber, there was stuff in the way, so I'd have to kind of wiggle and move it around. So like my spinning cart, I reorganized that. I have a small bookcase that I have all my spools and spindles and things for my for the Luette and for my electric wheel. So there was a lot of other organizing that went on, and I'll show you photos of that as well. I found a button box, beautiful box that is very similar to the button box that my mother used to have her buttons in. And I remember as a child going through her buttons, and I just loved the way that they sounded inside of that tin, pawing through them and finding all of my favorite buttons. I was able to find a tin, and I ended up emptying all of my buttons into this tin. And it's just something that I'm going to be able to let my grandchildren play with and have fun with. And it's just very nostalgic, and it's a better way to store my buttons than I had them in before. I also found a drop spindle with fiber fully plied on it. It just needed to be put on the nitty knotty and made into a skein of yarn, so I did that. I found another spinning device. I remember Julie gave it to me, and I can't remember what it's called, and I can't remember how to use it. Here's a photo. Please tell me if you know what this is and how to use it. If you can direct me to an instructional video on YouTube, I would be eternally grateful, because I do want to use it. I do want to try it. It's a funky, neat, different way to spin yarn. So I had this shoe caddy in the closet that had all of my, kind of spinning tools and such. And I wanted that out of the closet. I wanted it out of the kids' way, out of my way. So I took everything out, made some decisions on getting rid of things and reorganizing, and put all of my fiber tools into one basket. And I was able to get rid of the hanging shoe holder. And I rehomed that with my sister for her house. So that was a win. I also found some other projects that I didn't realize were not completed, and I decided to go ahead and complete them. I had a bunch of stockings that I had the idea I would stuff and make throw pillows out of them, and I never did it. I think I had 9 stockings, 9. So I took 2 of them and I made the throw pillows that I wanted to make. I just sat down one afternoon and stuffed them and sewed them up and made the pillows, and then gifted the other 7 stockings away to the thrift store. I also found 3 little crocheted angels. They were called potpourri angels. You used this organza material and stuffed it with potpourri, and then put that inside and sewed or hot glued the little angels together. They were fully crocheted. They just need to be assembled. So I decided not to do the potpourri. All of the potpourri that was in the box with them was like 13 years old and done. And then I just stuffed the angels with fiberfill and sewed them up and hot glued the things on, and I created 3 gorgeous, cute little angels. So they've been waiting over 13 years to be born, and it's about time. So now we get into the really good stuff. Now we get into the actual yarn and fiber portion of this exercise. And this is where it gets interesting. Now, I know I love all of my yarn and all of my fiber, and I don't want to be rid of any of it. but I need to have it a little bit more organized. So the first part of this was protein fiber. This was the most labor-intensive day of the entire project because 98% of my yarn and fiber stash is protein fiber. So protein would be your wool and your silk and your mohair and cashmere and anything that is animal-based fiber, right, is hair. So I took this out according to weight. So fingering weight, DK, sport, worsted, Aran, lace, all of that. And I took out all of the protein fiber first, yarn, and then spinning fiber. And you can see from these pictures, it was a mess. There's so much. But I was able to go through it, make sure that it was all on Ravelry, make sure that it was all bug-free. I did have a bit of a scare. I was putting a fresh sachet of lavender buds. When I got done, there was something all over the desk, and I thought it was bugs, and I was so scared. But I zoomed in on it with my camera, and it was a lavender bud, not a bug. So once that scare was over, I returned all of the yarn to my stash boxes, and I found that I really, really, really need to find some worsted weight projects because there's a lot of worsted weight yarn over there. I also really need to go through a spinning frenzy because I have a lot of fiber. One really cool thing I did find was I did find some hair from my chocolate lab Brady. We had to say goodbye to Brady this past summer, the day after my birthday, and I had been saving some of the fur from combing him, and I found the bag full of that fur, so that was really neat. I do need to address that, card it, flick it, get the guard hairs out of it. I want to blend it with some merino, some plain white merino, and make like a hat or a cowl or something. So that was also a very nice find. Once I got all the fiber kind of planned out and put in boxes in the closet, and you'll see that here, there was a ton of plastic bags that I was able to get rid of, which was a joy to get that out. And I was able to get all of the yarn put away in its boxes, and it was starting to look like an organized space in here. It was really coming along. I was so happy. So the next phase, the next day, was your plant-based fiber. So cotton, flax, bamboo, things like that. I didn't have a lot of this for spinning fiber. I did have a little bit of flax left over from a fiber box, and quite a bit of bamboo, and a little bit of cotton. I think it's cotton. It came in a grab bag. I'm not sure, but I'm considering it cotton. And so that just was this one little basket. Once it got done, it was nice each in their own individual little baggies. And then I also organized my cotton yarn in one cube of the yarn organized system thing I got going on. And then I had one basket that was all of my bamboo. So now I have my bamboo and my cotton separated, which is really nice. So that was the plant-based fiber. Next was synthetic fiber. I didn't think I had a lot of synthetic fiber. However, I was wrong. I still do have quite a bit of synthetic fiber. The most that I use synthetic fiber for is for charity knitting, because you want to give an easy care garment to charity organizations. You don't know, people's allergies, sensitivities, or their ability to launder things properly. If it's a wool, it would shrink, and you want to give them something that's going to be able to be with them for a while. So I usually use acrylic for those kind of knits. And I also would like to make some sweaters for the kids with my acrylic yarns. Again, just easy care for mom. I really want to make them some garments out of the acrylic that I have left. So I gifted a little bit of it, but anything that was like a full skein or I thought I would use for a sweater, I kept. And then I don't have a lot of acrylic fiber to spin either. I have add-ins. I have like Firestar and Stellina and, you know, the little add-in things that I do on the blending board. I also have this really cool fiber. I'm not sure what it is. I think it's like a nylon or a polyester blend, but it glows in the dark and it is so cool. I can't wait to find some way to spin this up. And since I got it, I've wanted to spin it and make a ghost stuffy out of it. So that's going to happen. And then while I was going through all of this, I found a partially completed blending board fiber preparation. I remember I wanted to do blending board rollags. I wanted to do a blending board bat, and I wanted to do blending board roving with a diz. I didn't have time to do the dizzing, so I just threw the rest of it on the blending board and pulled off some more rollags. So it's now done. It's in a little box with the bat and the other rollags that I did before, and it's ready for spinning. So that was the synthetic. So the next day was gaps. So this is where you treat yourself to something special and fill in the gaps, that list that you've been making of things that you need, that you have to fill in all of the things to, you know, make your stash life happy. And I only had a couple of things. It's not something that I'm going to rush right out and buy for myself. I do have it on a wish list for my family. So when birthdays, anniversaries, whatever come around, they can fill in my wish list. So that day I spent just finishing up some projects. I hung out with Lincoln for the day. We played some video games. It was really fun. And then the very last day of the project was to bless others, to get rid of anything that was in the donate box. Here's my donate box. It is overflowing. There's a lot there. I was able to give some of it away to Samantha, things that she could use with the kids for crafting time. And then the rest of it is either going to go to Goodwill or go to the recycling center. So it is gone, and my room. Let me take you on a tour. Welcome to the origami room. It's not usually this bright, but I will turn on the light so we can see what we're doing. Just as you walk in the door, there is a large table here on wheels. I roll it out in the middle of the room when I need to have big projects done. So that sits there when it's not in use. Then I have socks that need mending and jeans that need mending. Here are some of the diamond paintings that I have done in the past. This one my daughter did, that one I did. This is the bed where the kids sleep. It has another bed underneath, a trundle bed that we pull out when the kids stay in. When they're not here, it's my cozy knitting space. I have an antique sewing table that my sewing machine does not fit in because it's too new, but I love the table, so I use it for my sewing basket. This is a box of projects that are going to be shown on the next broadcast. Yeah, so it's kind of that's my tea tray. And then above that is all of my whips. Not all of them are actually on needles, but they all are in order according to my Ravelry queue. These are partial. These are mostly charity knits. And there's one gift knit in there that's a very, very long-term project. But this I'm hoping to have cleared out by the end of the year. Fingers crossed. When my back starts to ache sitting here, I have another chair here that I sit at. Or when I have company over, we can sit in the room together. This is a project that I'm currently working on. Beautiful blanket. It's Bright Days blanket, knit in Good Karma yarn. Mr. Air, as the kids call him, he is an air conditioner heater. So right now he's being used as a heater. In the summer, we'll move by the window, and he's used for air conditioning because the temperature is really hard to regulate in this room. We'll come back to the closet in a minute. This is my Luette spinning wheel, a plant that I'm in the process of killing because I can't keep plants alive. Shaster is Dylan's knitted cat from her birthday. He stays here because the puppy at their house won't leave it alone. There is scrap yarn down in there, and then this is fleeces that I use to put in quilts if I ever quilt again. And then these are project bags that are not in use. A little fairy garden for the kids to play with when they're here. Obviously they've been here because it's a mess. This is my spinning cart. This sits next to the desk. So during conference calls or breaks, I can just swivel around and spin my little heart out. This is the one area that did not get tended to during this whole process. So that is going to be tended to very soon because I don't even know what all's in there. Most of it's recording equipment, but I don't even know. Here's my desk. I'm working on updating my knitting journal from last year. A cup of tea, of course. It's where I work. My planner. Then these are all of my journals or notebooks, meal planning stuff, just like everything for day to day. This is my box of fiber prep, and like there's a darning egg in there. There is my bobbin winder, all kinds of goodies in there. Over here is the little bookcase that I talked about with my lace weight and mohair. My lovely button tin. These are magic knot cakes that I'm hopefully going to make a sea glass tea out of this summer. This is a defuzzer, and there are some extra organza bags. I'm working towards making that into a fiber advent for next Christmas for myself. And then these are my bobbins for the Luette, storage bobbins for spinning. This basket is a Fly True long-term scrappy pot project. And then this basket is acrylic yarn that I want to make kids' sweaters out of. This is more acrylic yarn. This is my worsted weight yarn, which I can't even pull out all the way or I'll never get it back. My needles. This is cotton yarn. It has a lid on it. One of the few that do because it actually has room to spare. This is Sport and DK, also with a lid. This is bulky and chunky yarn. This is Aran weight yarn, which has a lid. Fingering weight yarn. This is my bamboo yarn. And then this is all undyed Briggs & Little single ply sport and Regal that I want to dye to make a sweater out of. So this is my little Notions drawer that I am absolutely in love with. It has so many things in it. The shelf above the desk, this is kind of my sentimental corner. This really didn't get touched much. These are all very precious sentimental items. So those are kind of just, that's where they live. Then I have my aluminum straight needles, which I don't use for knitting anymore. So I'm experimenting with making jewelry out of them. And
also, I put little silk flowers on the top of them just to make the jar look pretty. These are my knitting books. That's my paper patterns, the one left that I talked about. This is a self-discovery project I'm working on. This is my spare diamonds for diamond painting, diamond paint supplies. There's charms for stitch markers, glue. I can't remember what is in there. That is cards and things from different vendors that I've met in Yarny Adventures. Washi tape painting. These are, I haven't painted in a long time. I think this was the last painting I painted for my father for Father's Day many, many years ago. And he gave me his paintbrushes, so I'm not willing to get rid of them, and I hope to be able to get back to painting again. Don't really have the space to do it right now. These are my crochet books, and then this is my diamond painting projects that I'm working on, and of course, coloring books and dot to dots. So that is the space. Still a lot of stuff for a small space, though. It is quite organized and I am rather happy with it. Nice little cozy. I love it. So let's go into the closet. So here is the closet. The lower half of the closet is mostly for the kids. So their toy boxes are here, their clothes are here. They've been here recently, so it's a little bit of a mess. And then there's a dollhouse that I've strung fairy lights on for them. They love to come in here with the light, the big light off and just the fairy lights on the house and play in here. They will play for hours. And then more toys and books for them. And then from there up, everything is Nana's. So this is sewing projects, all of my sewing supplies. These are quilting supplies. There are some quilt kits here, a pillow form, my iron, my spinning books, blocking mats. These are t-shirt quilts. These are all t-shirt fronts that I cut into 18-inch squares that I eventually want to make a t-shirt quilts for my daughters. There is some spinning rollags there. There's some alpaca that needs to be spun. There is the stocking throw pillows I recently finished. This is a fiber study and my Paradise Fibers Fiber of the Month Club boxes that need to be finished. Brady's hair. Here's natural undyed fiber in this box and this box. And up there, that's 3 pounds of, I can't remember what it is, Targhee, Cormo Targhee blend. These are fiber braids. So these are braids that have already been dyed. They are at least 100-gram braids. And then these are colored fibers. So most of this is either fiber, loose fiber that I've purchased or in grab bags or just as blending board supply kind of fiber. This is my basket of plant-based fiber and synthetic fibers, and then a box of miniature crafts that my daughter and I do together. A couple of bolts of fabric. That's only part of my fabric, but that's not what this video is about. So as you can see, there is a bit of vacuuming that needs to be done and quite a bit of room in here for the kids now to play. If they take the Batman stuff out, they sit in here for hours and play with the dollhouse. So we absolutely love this space now. And with any luck, most of this will be gone next year. So that is my take on the yarn stash, destash, or restash, as Anne called it this year. But it was a lot of fun. If you haven't done it before, I highly encourage you to follow I Thought I Knew How on Instagram. And the hashtag for this past year was hashtag YSRestash. So YSRESTASH. And you'll see a lot of videos there and
photos of other people who joined in this organization event. And please join us next year. It was so much fun and I got so much done. I highly recommend it. I hope you enjoyed the tour of my little piece of heaven here in my home, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.